Welcome back to another video by Hot Tech Tips, hottechtips.com. Today I want to show you a nice Excel tip. I like to call it the self-adjusting averages. So when you want to average, you usually have to have the entire range of the set of numbers that you want to take an average of. But sometimes you're building that range as you go through the month. So for instance, here is a little spreadsheet with the date January 1st of 2016 down to the 31st of the month. And what we want to do is every day we're going to enter the miles that we walked that day, and we want it to tell us several things: the total number of days that we did walk, the most miles walked in one day, the least miles in one day, the average daily miles, and then the total miles walked. So let's go through those different functions here. So first of all, we'll put in, let's say, just a few to get started. Let's say that on the first we walked, it was a holiday, so we walked 4 miles. And then the next day we didn't walk. The next one, 2.5, 2.3, 2.5. We skipped a day. 3.2, 3.3. Okay, so what we want to do is figure out the average, not the average miles for the whole month. We only want to have the days that we walked average. We don't want to count these days that we missed. So let's first do this and say average daily miles. So what we want to do is we want to only count the days that we walked as the number of days we want to divide by. Okay, so first we can make this by saying equals sum, and we want to sum the entire month because we're going to count our days for the full month as far as the number of days that we walked. And then we want to divide that by not 31, but by the count. And the count counts the number of cells in a range that contains a number. So we'll say count the number of days where I actually walked. So if it's blank, it won't count. And if it has a number in it, it will count. So this is our formula. Sum the entire month, but divide it by the count of the number of days I actually walked. And so we'll hit enter, and you'll see that's 3.06. So let's also take a look at the total number of days walked. So this, we're just going to use the straight count function. And we'll count everything for this month. And that shows us that we have walked 5 days. The most miles in one day, that is the max function. Four was the most in one day. And then the least is the min function. And again, we'll count this entire range. And then the total miles walked is the sum function of this range. So now, as we go through the month and put in our miles that we walked, you'll notice that the numbers in this area will change as we go through, and it will automatically update our daily miles, average daily miles here. So we'll put 5 miles on this day. Our average daily miles went up. Our most miles in one day went up to 5. Total days walked went up to 6. And total miles walked went up. So then let's do a low day. Let's do 1.2. This should change our least miles in one day. And it did. It changed it to 1.2. Total number of days walked 7. So you can see how this is working. So let's take a few more days off here. Come back with a vengeance. And then we'll go down to the end. Okay, so this is the month of January next in 2016, and you'll see the total number of days you walked that month, the most miles you walked in one day, the least miles in one day, the average daily miles for the days that you did walk, and then the total miles walked. So there you have it. That's what I call the self-adjusting averages formula. So this number will self-adjust based on the count of that number. I think what I was trying to show earlier was if we did the sum of all these here, and just divided that by 31, then it would give us a much lower number for the average of the average miles that were walked. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed this tech tip. Tune in for the next one. Thanks a lot.